Hello everyone, my name is Darshi Barmeda. I am from Sarthak Tutorials and the subject that I will be taking is English. In 11th Commerce, the English subject is divided into two books. The first is Hornbill, which is the main reading text, and the second one is Snapshots, which is supplementary reading. In Hornbill, you will be studying in total 8 chapters and 5 poetries divided into semesters. The first story that we are going to do today is The Portrait of a Lady, written by Khushwant Singh. The writer Khushwant Singh is a famous Indian writer and he has written many novels and stories during the time of partition. He has written a famous novel, A Train to Pakistan, which is dealing with the problems that were faced by people during the times of partition. The story that we are going to study today is The Portrait of a Lady. The word itself, portrait, suggests photograph. The photograph of a lady. In this chapter, Khushwant Singh has written an essay about his grandmother. Khushwant Singh was very attached with his grandmother as he had spent his entire childhood with his grandmother when his parents moved to the city for making their careers. His grandmother and Khushwant Singh were very attached to each other, but the essay as it progresses shows us how the writer, when he went for higher education studies, was not able to connect with his grandmother and slowly their connection was reduced. The story is actually an essay which portrays the physical, emotional as well as mental character of Khushwant Singh's grandmother. We'll read each and every paragraph. I'll request all the students to keep their books Hornbill open and read with me. The Portrait of a Lady by Khushwant Singh. My grandmother, like everybody's grandmother, was an old woman. She had been old and wrinkled for the 20 years that I had known her. People said that she had once been young and pretty and had even a husband, but that was hard to believe. As Khushwant Singh has seen his grandmother old, he is not able to believe that she was once young and pretty. He has always seen her as an old and wrinkled lady because she was very aged. My grandfather's portrait hung above the mantelpiece in the drawing room. He wore a big turban and loose-fitting clothes. His long white beard covered the best part of his chest, and he looked at least 100 years old. He feels that his grandfather was also very old, as the portrait suggested that he wore a big turban and he looked very old because of the long white beard that he had. He did not look the sort of a person who would have a wife or a children. He looked as if he could only have lots and lots of grandchildren. This is actually a satire, a line which is written because children at that time are very young to understand everything, and that is why he felt as if his grandfather could not have wife or children because he looked very old and he could only have grandchildren. As for my grandmother, being young and pretty, the thought was almost revolting. Here the phrase used is the thought was almost revolting. This phrase means it is very hard to believe. At the end of the chapter, we will be seeing the meanings of all the hard words in detail. Here the line suggests that grandmother being young and pretty was very hard to believe for the author Khushwant Singh. She often told us of the games she used to play as a child that seemed quite absurd and undignified on her part, and we treated it like the fables of the prophets she used to tell us. The grandmother used to share all the types of games they used to play during their childhood, but the author Khushwant Singh felt that these games were absurd. Absurd means which is something that is very illogical. He felt that she is talking in a very illogical manner and they did not believe in her words. She had always been short and fat and slightly bent. Her face was a crisscross of wrinkles running from everywhere to everywhere. This shows the physical appearance of the grandmother. It is a very important paragraph. It gives us information about the physical appearance. The author says that she was short and fat and she was slightly bent. We all know that as the age progresses, the the human beings tend to bend because of their pains, and that is why the author feels that she was short, fat and slightly bent from the slightly bent. Her face was a crisscross of wrinkles. As the age increases, the wrinkles on the face increases, and that is why he felt that she had very many wrinkles on her face. No, we were certain she had always been as we had seen her. Old, so terribly old that she could not have grown older and had stayed at the same age for 20 years. She could never have been pretty, but she was always beautiful. This line is very important. He says that she was not very pretty, but she was beautiful. Both these meanings are contradictory because we cannot judge that how can a person who is pretty not be beautiful. Here, the author is talking about beautiful in the sense that she had her inner beauty. She was very calm and peaceful. Her nature was very beautiful, and the prettiness here suggests her outer appearance. So the author says that as she was old, she did not seem to be very attractive, but her soul, her inner body was very attractive. She hobbled about the house in spotless white with one hand resting on her waist to balance her stoop and the other telling the beads of her rosary. So she used to hobble about. Hobble means to walk in the house with spotless white. She used to wear white sari and she put her one hand on her waist because to balance her stoop. We saw earlier that she was slightly bent, and in order to maintain that bent, she used to put her hand on the waist, and in the other hand she used to hold the beads of her rosary. She used to speak chant and would move her rosaries. Her silver locks were scattered untidily over her pale, puckered face, and her lips constantly moved in inaudible prayer. We all know, even when we talk about our older parents, we all know that they all are very religious. They are always very very much into the religious scriptures, and in the same way the author's grandmother also used to speak prayers, and she was speaking her prayers in an inaudible manner. She used to speak to herself. Yes, she was beautiful. Beautiful here again suggests her inner beauty. She was very calm and peaceful. She was like the winter landscape in the mountains, an expanse of pure white serenity, breathing peace and contentment. Contentment means to be very satisfied. Her face was very calm, peaceful and serene. She was very satisfied. My grandmother and I were good friends. Now, from this paragraph onwards, we will see what was the relationship between the grandmother and the author Khushwant Singh. So, he says that they were very good friends. My parents left me with her when they went to live in the city, and we were constantly together. She used to wake me up in the morning and get me ready for school. She said her morning prayer in a monotonous sing-song. Monotonous means something which is very constant, something which is repeated on a daily basis. While she bathed and dressed me in the hope that I would listen and get to know it by heart. I listened because I loved her voice but never bothered to learn it. Here the author speaks about how their day used to go. In the first line itself he says that when his parents went to live in the city, the grandmother and Khushwant Singh used to constantly be together. She will wake up Khushwant Singh in the morning and get him ready for the school. She used to speak her morning prayers, and she used to speak it loudly so that she felt Khushwant Singh will also learn listening to her grandmother. But Khushwant Singh said that he used to listen to the prayers because he loved the voice of grandmother, because her voice was very beautiful, but he never bothered, he never cared of learning the prayers by heart. Then she would fetch my wooden slate, which she had already washed and plastered with yellow chalk. and a tiny earthen ink pot and a red pen. Tie them all in a bundle and hand it to me. Now here the school culture is of a village area. So in the villages, the children used to go with a wooden slate. They did not have books at that time. They used to take a wooden slate and write with the ink, earthen ink, and they will go to a school which is nearby the temple. After a breakfast of a thick stale chapati, stale means something which is unfresh, with a little butter and sugar spread on it, we went to school. They used to go to school after having breakfast. He will eat one stale chapati with sugar and butter and then walk to the school. She carried several stale chapatis with her for the village dogs. She used to take the leftover chapatis for the village dogs because when they went on the road, they used to meet many dogs. My grandmother always went to school with me because the school was attached to the temple. As we discussed earlier, the school was always nearby the temple, and so she would go with the author to the school. The priest taught us the alphabets and the morning prayer, while the children sat in rows on either side of the veranda singing the alphabet or prayer in a chorus. In a chorus means a group. My grandmother sat inside reading the scriptures. When the students were learning alphabets, they were taught alphabets by the priest itself, the one who is maintaining the temple. He used to teach them alphabets, and at that time grandmother would sit in the temple and she used to read scriptures. Scriptures here means religious books. This time, when we had finished, we would walk back together. They will walk back to home together. They will go to school together and come home together. This time the village dogs would meet us at the temple door. They followed us to our home, growling and fighting with each other for the chapatis we threw to them. They used to give chapatis while they were returning. When my parents were comfortably settled in the city, they sent for us. Here the phrase sent for us means invited them. So after the parents thought that they are properly settled in the city, they called grandmother and Khushwant Singh to live with them in the city. That was a turning point in our friendship. Although we shared the same room, my grandmother no longer came to school with me. I used to go to an English school in a motor bus. There were no dogs in the street, and she took to feeding sparrows in the courtyard of our city house. So this was the second phase of the relationship. In the first phase of the relationship, we saw how in the older days he used to go to school together with grandmother and they used to be very attached with each other. In the second phase, when they moved to city with their parents, the friendship, the relationship was again changed. The phrase a turning point means something which is a decisive change, something which is an unexpected change. During that time, what happened is that in city, the author went to an English school and he used to go in a motor bus. He used to go in the school bus. So grandmother was no longer going with Khushwant Singh, and also there were no dogs in the streets as in the village, so she was not able to feed the dogs, and that is why now the new friends that she made were the sparrows. In the city house, in the house that they were living, there were very many sparrows, and so in the courtyard, in the hall of the house, they used to go and feed the sparrows. The grandmother used to go and feed the sparrows. As the year rolled by, we saw less of each other. Slowly, the relationship was getting disconnected. They were seeing less of each other. What was the reason behind it? For some time, she continued to wake me up and get me ready for school. But when I came back home, she would ask me what the teacher had taught me. I would tell her English words and little things of Western science and learning, the law of gravity, Archimedes' principle, the world being round, etc. This made her unhappy. The grandmother was always used to studying religious scriptures. She always enjoyed studying in village, making the author study in village. But when he went to an English school, he started learning Western science. So he used to tell about the English words that he studied. He used to tell about the science that he studied, about the law of gravity, about the Archimedes principle, everything. But this did not make grandmother happy. She could not help me with my lessons because she did not know about this. She did not have knowledge about this. She did not believe in the things they taught at the English school and was distressed. She was not very happy that there was no teaching about God and the scriptures. The students used to learn, as we have seen earlier, they used to learn alphabets as well as they used to learn the prayers. So grandmother was unhappy because nothing regarding the scriptures was taught to the students. One day I announced that we were being given music lessons. Now they were started in the school, they used to learn music, and she was very disturbed. This was something which she hated. To her, music had lewd associations. Here the word lewd means something which is bad, something which is ugly. It was the monopoly of harlots and beggars and not meant for gentlefolk. She believed that the music was for the beggars and harlots and not for the gentle people, not for the gentlemen, not for the regular folk. She said nothing, but her silence meant disapproval. Sometimes silence can convey many meanings, and her silence meant that she was not happy. She disapproved of learning music. She rarely talked to me after that, and that was the point when she learned that she won't be able to help Khushwant Singh with his lessons, and so she started to avoid speaking regarding the studies with Khushwant Singh. We will stop until this and we will continue with the remaining story in the next lecture. If anyone has doubt, they are free to contact at our classes. Thank you.